equations, or let's say functions, absolute value functions. What's today, 7? Okay, I understand you're late, but then you should come in ready to start class. Absolute value functions. Right here in notes, I want you to put only k. There's a reason why. Only k. K. It'll make sense in a little bit. This is something new you've not done before. Okay? How do I graph absolute value functions? Thank you. All right, let's talk about an absolute value function. It's going to look different than what you've seen before. Absolute value function is in the form f of x equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. Those lines are your what? Absolute value bars, okay? So they're just a little bit bigger than the numbers and the letters, so we can see that they're there. There is an h. We're not going to deal with h today. Today we're just going to deal with k. Okay, so today we're just going to deal with k. We'll talk about h tomorrow. I'll explain a little bit. For today, h is going to be 0, okay? So here's your vertex. We have what's called a vertex. The vertex is what we call as the starting point. The vertex is the starting point. The vertex is h comma k. H comma k. Now I want you to pay attention really quick and just look up. Notice that this is negative h, right? This is positive h. That's positive k and positive k. Do you see that? So I want you to make a note. H is always the opposite. H is always opposite. We'll talk more about that tomorrow, but put a note now so you have it in your brain. H is always opposite and k is the same. So H is always opposite and k is the same. For today, H is 0. Okay? So H is always opposite. K is the same. You need to have that memorized, okay? Let's talk about A. See the A right here? Talk about what that represents. It represents whether you're going up or down. Well, you're wondering, what does this graph look like? It doesn't look like a line. It's different. No, it's not crazy. It's pretty easy. It looks like a V. So it looks like up with your vertex here, or it looks like it's going down like this. Very straight lines make it a V. Okay? It's very, very straight lines. So what do you think makes it go up? A has to be what kind of number? Positive. So if A is positive, it goes up. And if A is negative, it goes down. So this is positive A, and this is negative A. Okay? Remember parent function? Where we talked about a little bit about a parent function. For a line, where does your parent function always go through? What point? What point? 0, 0. Starts at the origin, right? And depending on slope or whatever it looked like, then we shifted it what? How do we shift it? We either went which way? Up or down, right? It translated up or down. This also has a parent function. This one has a parent function. It's either f of x equals the absolute value of x, or f of x equals negative absolute value of x. Parent. And their starting points on both of them are going to be at what? What do you think? 0, 0. And the reason I know that, is there an H here located here? Do you see a number next to K? I mean X? Sorry. Do you see a number there? No. So it's 0. Do you see a number on the outside? Nope. That's 0 too. Okay? So I'm going to show you how to do this in a second. Does this kind of make a little bit of sense? Just a little bit? We're going to talk about a couple more things while we do the examples, because it's easier that way. All right, we ready? Well, let's practice. All right, so let's write examples. All right, let's do f of x equals the absolute value of x minus 5. F of x equals the absolute value of x minus 5. There's a couple things you have to do in your homework tonight. The first thing is, we're going to graph the parent function. More of as in directions. I'm going to graph the parent function. You must identify the vertical shift and and behavior, domain and range. We good? I'll let you write that, and then we're going to graph this in a second. All right, ready? We good? Okay, so what's our parent function? I'm going to call it PF. What's our parent function? F of x equals what?
0.
It's one of these. Which one is it? Positive. The absolute value of x, okay? So what I want you to do right now is I want you to draw your graph, and then I want you to watch, okay? Because it seems really tricky, but I promise it's not, okay? So just draw this part in, and then put your pencil down. All right, even if you're not done, pencils down for now so you can see what's happening. Okay? All right, so what's happening right now is this. We have f of x is the absolute value of x. Well, we know this has a starting point of what we said. This one has a starting point of 0, 0, right? So what's going to happen is I'm going to graph this little function. Now, because I know what's my a on this one, it's positive, right? So it's going which way? It's going up. So I know that this really just looks, hey guys, like this. Make sense? So that's your parent function. Got it? Now, this right here says I have a -5. Now, I want to talk about the starting point or the vertex, right? So my starting point for today is always going to be where h is what number I said? 0. So for today, it's going to be 0, and k is -5. So what that means is that that is shifting up or down? Down. How many? 5. Does that make sense? So all I'm doing is going down 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it doesn't change the way it's going because it's still a what? It's still a positive. So when I graph it, it looks something like that. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I did? So all I did was graph this, which is starting at 0, 0. Then I shifted it down to this. Does it work the other way also? Yeah. So that's just the graphing part, right? So I graphed the parent function, I identified the vertical shift, and behavior. Okay, let's talk about end behavior. Which way your arrow is pointing? Up. On a line, you had 2 ways, right? You're still just watching. On a line, you had up, down, or down, up, because they were opposite directions. Make sense? Now, they're both pointing in the same direction, so they're either up or they're down. There's really no other way. So my end behavior is what? Is up. Okay? You okay there? Your domain. Let's listen about domain, and then we'll talk about range. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky, but listen. Domain is your which ones? Your x's or your y's? Your x's. Very good, because domain comes first, so that means x's come before y's. These are my initials, by the way. So domain. As this is going this way, Does it ever stop? So if it's never stopping, is the x still going the same way?
Yeah.
So your domain is negative what? Negative infinity, and does it work in the opposite direction? Yes, it does. To what? Positive infinity. Very good. Okay? Now this is a little bit of a tricky part, which is why you're watching and not writing. I'm going to give you time to write. When I'm looking at my range, your range are which values? X's or Y's? It's your Y's. Now, on a line, it's in both directions, so it keeps going on and on and on. Is there anything going to be less than this point? There's not, right? So this point right here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What, 5? Positive or negative? Negative. So this is negative 5. Notice that there's a little bracket here. Do you see it? Because I can actually touch negative 5. Can I ever touch infinity? No. So I don't put a bracket around infinity, I just put a parenthesis. But because I can touch negative 5, I put a bracket. Make sense? Now, negative 5 to where? Well, I don't know. This keeps going, and if this keeps going, so does this. So to where? Infinity. Does that make sense? Are you okay? Are there questions before you copy it? No? Yes? Which one? On the range? Well, because as this keeps going this way, doesn't this keep going this way? It doesn't stop. Good? Okay, copy. If there's extra things you want to copy as well, you can. Like I said, things you might want to write. Put yourself extra notes if you need to, okay? Ready? Because I only did one pointed which way? Up. So you need to do one pointed down. Can I turn the page?
No.
Well, hurry up. You were sitting there for... All right, negative absolute value of x plus 1. I want you to identify your parent function. I want you to then try and graph it. Okay. Identify your vertical shift and behavior. Your range is going to be the tricky one, okay? All right, ready? What's your parent function? Negative absolute value of x. No one. Just that. So what is the starting point of your parent function? 0, 0. Very good. So you're going to go to 0, 0, and it's going to go which way? Up or down? Very good. So it looks like that, right? Good? Who has that right? Wonderful. All right, next part is to talk about vertical shift, right? So our vertical shift, but before that we talked about starting point of this one, yeah? Yeah. So starting point. What is the starting point of your new function? 0, 1. Very good. The new function 0, 1. So it has a vertical shift of?
Shift up.
Very good. You're going up 1. Good? Okay. So I go up 1. Still pointed which way? Down. Like that? Wonderful. Then I need to talk about domain and range. Yes? Who has it right so far? Very good. Easy? Okay, let's talk about domain. Domain is what? Negative infinity to positive infinity. Very good. My infinities are a little off today, but it's okay. Now your range is the tricky one. And this is where I said you might get lost. So pay attention. Range on the last one, we came from the bottom up, correct? So we're still going to come from the bottom up because the bottom is the smallest numbers, and it's always small to big, right? So coming from the bottom up, where are we coming from? Anyone know? It's pointing down this way. So is it ever stopping? So the y is never stopping. So it's coming from where? Negative infinity. Very good. Oh, very good. To positive 1. Why is it going to positive 1? Because it stops right there. Nothing is past positive 1, correct? Does that make sense? I wanted to do one like this so you could see the range backwards versus the other one. Oh. Does that make sense? Other questions? Easy? A little bit? The hardest part is going to be the what? The range. The hardest part is the range. Quote unquote hard. Okay? Make sense? Tomorrow I'll add in h. For today we just have k. All right, so today we just have k, moving it up and down. Tomorrow we'll add in h. Yeah?
So how is k involved with all these?
We did k. K is your what? It's your vertical shift. We'll add in h. We'll still have k, but we'll add in h. The only reason why I did vertical shift today is because didn't we graph lines and then we just moved them up and down? Okay, so it's the same thing. So I'm going to do baby steps, and then tomorrow I'll add in h, and h will change it up a bit. Got it? We good? All right, summaries.